to the show, Bass Bonsai. Hopefully, we're streaming back in the house, not out on the water on a Saturday because we're still in between trucks. If you guys follow the channel, we're not going to see rug burn anymore. I don't think. I don't know. Haven't sold it yet. But anyway, today's video, we're going to be talking about mainly the rod and reel combos, rod and reels separately by themselves. And if you guys are wondering, like, oh my gosh, everything he has, well, almost is a Steez or a Daiwa, right? So the Looms, they're gone. Well, I can't say that exactly. We do still have this one I go fishing with, so he was going with some different, he wanted a float trip or something. So we rigged him up with the BB1 that I just picked up not too long ago. But I got it used off eBay. So I rigged him up with that. We set the drag or the tension knob and the brakes just good enough to where he'd be able to go out and fish. But then here he comes back, and I put it on a 13 fishing. That is still the Fate Black is still a very good rod. So that is the only reel I have left that's a Looms. It comes with the drag clicker, if you guys remember right. The BB1, they're just such a crazy big spool. It's almost for me anyway, it would be something to put on a very big rod or something you want to run thick line because it's a pretty deep spool. But look at what this kid comes back with that they had him rigged up fishing with. This rod and reel combo, which a lot of people fish this way. Bobber to just some sort of hook or a could be. A lot of people usually have a split sinker or something. I don't know how he was even managing the cat. I guess the bobber is just enough weight, and then whatever bait, worm, I would imagine, is what they had on this. Is what he was fishing with. I guess they caught a few fish, but anyway, it's just funny sometimes just the way. I don't know. I guess at one point maybe I fished like that. My grandpa used to fish like that a lot. He used to almost this exact same setup, but with some weight, and it was always with a double hook setup to where we would run live minnows or sometimes could be crappie jigs, but just depending that, and then throw them out and kind of drift with the boat over spots that we knew of, kind of deal. So anyway, the only Looms left that is in my arsenal, it's not even really in my arsenal, it's just sitting over here. I don't know. I'm thinking about putting it back on the Super Destroyer just because I'm short a reel now, as we're going to talk about. So update, if you haven't been following along some of the live streams, I sold 3 of my combos to Keith, which included all 3 of my like higher end Looms reels, right? So the Custom Pro, the Hyper Mag, and the Elite TI, they're gone. I was running I liked the Elite TI on actually the Super Destroyer. Once I took it off the Elite TI rod, because that rod was almost the same thing as we've got here in the Signature series. So anyway, and then I had the Dobbins and the Custom Pro together, kind of mainly because they color matched perfectly and they just worked together very well. But that orange reel was probably my favorite of the 3, but it being that orangish gold, it only really honestly looked good on so many different rods, so that's why. So anyway, having said all that, the Looms, I tried them this season, got a lot of different ones. Nothing wrong with them. I put them there, which they are made by the same company, Doyo Factory, makes Abu Garcia and Looms. And I think Looms are above Abu Garcia in my opinion, but they're still not where, for sure, on your higher end Daiwas. But even the Tatula, in my opinion, it's a heavier than almost all of those Looms, but you guys know me. I'm just a Daiwa guy. I end up going back to Daiwa stuff on reels. Rods, not necessarily any one certain thing still on those. We've kind of starting to get some favorites. But when it comes to reels, I'm going to go through these real quick. So I can't make myself, even Brew Tank he can tell you, he's messaged me a few times and even mentioned it, message right here below on these videos about trying to trade me out of one of these Steez Limited. I just cannot bring myself to get rid of the 3 I ended up getting. I bought, I think it was 2 new from Digitaka, and one of them came with a deal with the Super Destroyer. I want to say the 7-to-1. Yeah, I think it was this one came in on the deal with the Super Destroyer. I picked it up, a good deal for it and the Super Destroyer together. I've since changed handles periodically or whatever. I added drag clickers to these. Oh yeah, and I forgot to even mention that to Keith. So I don't know if Keith is watching this one or not. I had to message him at some point. I didn't even, we like totally blew over the fact that all three of those reels I traded or sold to him in along with the combos. I had a drag clickers to all three of those. I never even mentioned it to him. I had him, he was sold on all the stuff just by looking at it and how it felt, and you know, me telling him, which you could look it up, the cost of just to get those, the Elite TI combo, unless you really if you, like right now, if you wanted to go try to buy it, you're going to still spend right around $800 just for that combo. And he gave me $1,000 for all three combos because I gave him a deal on them. So anyway, that I didn't even tell him that I had drag clickers in all three, which he's probably figured that out by now because he's already been fishing with them. So I have three of these reels, and I have to say that I do like the downside. If these are still available on at least Digitaka. So the 7.1 I think is out, and that's the only one that had the deeper spool. And then these you can only get at 8.5. The Steez Limiteds that are available are the shallow spool 8.5. I don't think there's any other speed options. But anyway, that's only downside once they start putting out these limited ones. They limit what availability of gears and that kind of stuff you're allowed. But these, the main reason, not only just the fact they look, in my opinion, better than any of the other Steez colors going, right? They, you know, the old blacker ones, that finish hides any little scuffs or blemishes like way better than even the newest finish on this one, or definitely the older black, or even the Steez, this is HLC, but the Steez A2 or whatever it's called. So for finish and just overall, still palm very good. If you really pay attention compared to the newer ones that are a little more rounded smoothness feel, you might be able to feel it, but still one of the best palmable reels out there, the smoothest. With that shallow spool, you can, the SVTW, you can go long distance with braid anyway. But then you can also throw lightweight baits and all that kind of stuff better. So I can't knock anything about these, period, other than the cost. They're Digitaka. You can't even get them in the States. You've got to go like outsource them somewhere else. You're not going to see the limiteds on Tackle Warehouse or none of that kind of stuff. I don't even think I've seen him at the Hookup Tackle. I don't think he messes with the limited versions of stuff. Maybe, but I don't think I've ever seen these on there. Anyway, you can still get these. I was trying to look at this one, and I'll try to look at some of them. Like right there, that may be something I've done. That little, if you look, there's a little bitty mark right there. I was trying to look. I think these I've had 3 years now. I think there's more 3 years at least is how old these are. And they get sort of babied, but you're going to put, and I'll show you on these others. Because the downside to me, anyway, once I spot something, it's like I spotted it forever. But I don't remember, maybe that one I just showed you on the bottom side, I don't remember seeing or spotting any visible scratches and issues I've had with these. Now there is this, this is so, if you really look, see just from that's such a smooth like chrome plating type thing that it just ends up getting those little fine hair, little scuff marks. But yeah, I'm kind of looking, nothing that stands out. That's what I said, that's why I like this finish. Like these still look like new. You just wipe them off, they still look like new. I want to say that is the only, I can't even find it now. Oh, there it is. Maybe right, if that's a scuff mark, is the only thing on this reel. And honestly, I don't know if that was, that could just be a flaw in the finish that I never spotted or whatever. But if I sat and stared at it long enough, I found that one. Now this reel, these are pretty tough also. The problem with this is the minute any one little thing pops up on it, when you have these smooth finishes, just like a paint on a car or something, like right there, see that little mark? I'm pretty sure that's a little scuff. I don't know when it popped in or when it happened, but, and then same thing on side plates. All it takes is one little whatever. So I think all reel companies should start looking into like a I mean, we got bass boats, metal flake, right? Some kind of whatever this sort of little flake stuff added is. It just hides flaws, blemishes, or scuffs and scratches better than most other finishes. So the next best finish, in my opinion, so far has been this, but it is also just like the other stees I've showed you. So this is the one I bought from Digitaka. I think it was Digitaka. Did I buy this? I don't even remember where I bought this one from. Digitaka or AliExpress. I can't even remember now. Maybe it was AliExpress. But anyway, this one, I don't see any scuffs or anything yet. It's newer than those others. But it is not much newer than this one. And this reel, the newest SVTW stees, it's hard to say, but I'd swear if I look at it right, it almost has little scuffy issues, like kind of like what these get. Like, see even right there, it looks like that's a little scuff. You can see where my thumb from hitting it. And then I want to say I've spotted it. I was looking earlier so I could show you guys. I thought I spotted, yeah, right here. Hang on. If you look at the light right, see right there? Pretty sure, unless that's pretty sure that's a scratch of some sort. I don't know how it got there, but it's there. And I'm pretty sure that was not there when I bought this. So I've done that. I don't even know how, on what, where, what happened. But anyway, you can't even see it. Like, it takes you a little second to find it. But I like this reel, but for the money, that you cannot adjust this no matter what. So I don't know if you go to switch out a spool, the spools are, I guess, different than these. So you went away from the ability to go to your OG old standard between the zillion, the steezes, all of the old steezes. I think every old zillion out there, every old TDZ, all these spools will change. And then I think this one's different. But then even if you get a different spool, I'm not so sure you're going to be able to get it in there without it. It could possibly fit a little tight or too loose. You have no more way of adjusting that shaft in, the tolerances have to be exactly perfect because you have no way to adjust that anymore. But using this reel, the Steez Limb, this new reel is actually, yes, it's probably better than anything Daiwa's put out, in my opinion. Because you don't, just like you've never really have, once this is set at wherever you set it, you really don't have to mess with that. And as long as it is free. Now, if you put one in and for whatever reason it feels bound up and you might have needed to adjust that before, you can't do it now. But you can honestly get out and fish with this set at several different settings, as long as it's not, too much give or if it's too tightened. But this thing, the palmability, how small it is, lightweight, and the fact that you can go, if you guys see me in certain videos, from like 4 to 10, and 4 is about as freed up as you need to get as much distance as you would ever want, and you can go, probably don't even have to go to 10, but at 10, it creates this reel that you almost can't backlash. You can skip it up under docks, and if it stops, like, it just doesn't backlash, with braid anyway. I'm sure there's a setting, once you added fluoro or mono, you could, you typically want to be higher up into the braking, but you could probably go up 4 to 6 notches and then not worry about, skipping or, backlashing at all. But yeah, this is an awesome reel. But finish-wise, on the finishes, it ranks down there. I'd say just better than the Zillion, not as good as the Tatula or the Steez A2s and stuff like that. And definitely not as good as the Limited. It's probably as good or better than the old Steez, because I think this finish does give it the opportunity to hide maybe a few more deals. But I'll be honest, I do not like this finish as well as I like the overall roundness of this reel better and that, but I don't like the finish as well as I do on the Steez Limiteds. Now, the worst reel. And I know a couple of you have commented like, well, I don't have a problem with mine. I'm telling you, these are just like what the old Metaniums were for Shimano or whatever. When they paint silver on one of these reels, they they don't do well. Now I've added some scratches, but some of this is just me basically using the reel. It just wears off the paint. So not the most durable paint, but still one of the most awesome reels. So let's just go just on reel. Don't worry about the paint. We can get them repainted. We can get them Cerakoted. That done, right? Yeah. Some of you can. All right, hang on. Whew, let me get a little drink here. My least favorite reels of all these would be this guy, the HLC. I still use it, but man, I doctored it up. I had to go in here and switch this around. This is a wild and crazy spool. If you try to fish it just the way it comes so freed up. You have to throw something like heavy in order for it to, I don't know, just, so all I did was I took the springs off of one side and put them inside. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I guess, well, since I'm here sitting here, I mentioned it. I shouldn't have said a word. So on the spool, the downside also to the HLC, its spool is, as far as I know, all by itself. It's a bigger spool, but it's like unruly. It's crazy. So if you see, this is already sticking out. So it just has that little bit. So, and if you see, I can kind of push it in a little bit. Instead of having the boost where there's two springs out here, I took one of those and put it back on the inside just so it has its normal, like a normal spool kind of thing. Now for me, that worked. That is all it took, and this reel cast like what you would expect just a good casting Daiwa reel to cast. I can zing it out there with ease. I can also pitch it and flick it around, and it doesn't get too crazy. And I'm set on, I think I've set on 10. It may be on 11 now, but 10, 11, whatever. It just, and that's throwing bigger stuff. You can fling out the swim baits. You can also throw a half-ounce jig and pitch and flip it around. And it just works real good like that. But it's my least favorite kind of because of the spool, and it just took away from the overall looks also, in my opinion. It's a little too blue. It's got a little too much of a blue-gray finish, and then it's got these blue accents here. Some people kind of like that. I'm just like, I don't know. I just kind of stuck this on it just because, right? On the tequila back rack. It still looks good in my opinion, but it's my least favorite of my Daiwa Steez reels. Honestly, at some point I may take this. Like if I didn't have this right now, I know what I would do. I would take this reel right here and put on the tequila back rack. And I still may do that. I may list that reel for sale and stick this BB1, put some cork knobs on it, maybe a whole different, maybe that handle assembly on this BB1, and just use it because I do not use the tequila back rack a ton. And it's got that BB1's got a big spool, works very good. I may possibly do that. Take this stuff off and clean, well, it's already kind of cleaned up, but I could clean it up a little bit better and just try to sell that reel. But it does its job. It's just, it's kind of overkill for no more. For as much as one of those Steez costs no more than I go out swim bait fishing, it's kind of overkill. And I'll be honest, that BB1 probably do the same thing that reel will do. So the next would be probably the Zillion. I know it used to be my favorite overall, and for the money it probably is, but I still like these reels a touch better for everything. Not by a lot, but the paint finish and just they're close, but I would have to put this one next. And then would be probably this or these. These are kind of tied just because I like this better, but I don't know. But the bang for the buck, and the reason it just puts it as my favorite reel overall is this reel, the Tatula. I'm telling you guys. Like, this is set up exactly how I go and fish it. You can see that. Well, am I all the way down to 3? I thought I was on 4 with this, but maybe I'm only on 3. But I've already put the bearings in up here, added the Daiwa. I haven't like completely, I didn't flush it out and put all, Lucas oil and space grease from Daiwa in it, but I did kind of add some different stuff because I added a drag clicker to it. But if they would just add a drag clicker from the factory to this, I think I don't know, they probably won't, but I don't have an issue with tracking these down. You can still get them for like $180 roughly. Put a drag clicker in it, 2 bearings up here. You're dealing with about as smooth as filling as you can get. Now we did do the cast testing, and this won't quite hold up to what a Zillion or these Steezes will. But it's a $180 reel on a Digitaka. You used to be able to get it for $150 on AliExpress before the tariff deal, and they just took it off. You can't even, it's not even an option now. But I see more of these in my future. I probably won't sell these. I don't see myself buying any more of these or these. I might buy, I don't know, I'm kind of up in the air. Do I want to get any more of these or these? They're roughly close. This definitely outcasts it by a little bit. The ease of just flicking a bait or casting. The Zillion, I think, I'll be honest, if you can just look at this. So I'm going to switch it back, but I had the Zillion rigged up on my lightest one with the BFS reel. So I honestly, and it works, but I took the Zillion spool out and put in the 7-1 because the deeper spool in this Steez, that Zillion spool, in my opinion, is a better spool. I put it right there with the shallow spools, and it's probably a better spool than the shallow spools just because you can put more regular line if you guys like running a straight fluoro stuff. I'm telling you, that Zillion, in my opinion, that Zillion spool especially that comes in that Zillion, the whatever that size is, I guess I could try to show you that. Because so there, hang on one second. Hang on, whoa, don't go nowhere. Let me see if I've got the stock spool. Is this the Steez? I think this is the regular. Yeah. So here's the Steez, and I don't know why they look the same. Yeah, they say they're the same. RSC SV Boost 1000 G1, right? 16. They show that they're the same spool, and this one's even lighter. So if you look, the Steez got the cutouts, but I'm telling you, I would swear this spool just does a little better than that Steez Limited. Now, these spools on the shallow spool, let's just pull one out so you guys can see. I don't know if, I guess I've shown these before. It's probably been a while back. So yeah, here's the Steez Limited and probably what you can get. I'm guessing the regular Steez are similar to that. And then there's a shallow spool. So if you look, you can see the holes. That's roughly how much line I run. I don't even know if I've got a scale working. I was going to say we could just weigh, for those of you that are curious. It's been so long since I've done this, broke into these spools and weighed everything and all that kind of stuff. Let's just do it. Let's see. I don't know if I think I got my magical spool scale. We're going to do it with line and all, just because I'm definitely not taking all the line off. So we're gonna we'll weigh them all. Let's just go on a crazy bender here. The line that I would normally run, they roughly have the same amount of tape or same leader. It may vary by a little bit. So let's just see the cheapest we got out right now in our hands. We'll get them all out here in a second. But is the Zillion. Let's look at the back side. So there's no cutouts or nothing. They're roughly the same as the. So 18 grams, ready to go. It definitely has probably a little less line. 19. Okay, well that's why. Is it just that difference? Maybe that little bit of difference in line made the or no, this one's still got a. Oh wait. Time out. I still got the bearing from whenever. Let's put that bearing in there. That bearing is lost. Okay, 18. So yeah, they're the same, I would imagine. This one does have just that little bit more line if you look. But let's see what if any difference the shallow spool on the, yeah, 16. So what's weird is, though, I think if you're zinging baits out there, those two, and actually the zillion, maybe just because I run a little less line on it, it just feels like it's easier to cast a bait further with the zillion, whether that spool's in a zillion or whether that spool's in a steez. But that could be in my head. Let's just check this one. So the new, now it's the same way. Most of them I don't fill up all the way, so it's probably a, so let's check the new spool, if you can see it right here. Let's compare it to, so here's the, so they're definitely nowhere near the same size around, if you can see. There's definitely smaller spool, a little deeper. Let's see what it weighs. 15. So lightweight, right? And it's a casting machine. Let's not stop there, guys. We don't need to weigh any more of those. Let's weigh. I don't want to weigh. Do we want to weigh? Let's just weigh it, just so you guys will know. Because I don't even have it spooled all the way up either. But it's a tank of a spool. So the Steez HLC, see how far down I've also got it. It's no cutout to where it's made to throw heavy stuff. 23. Yeah, that thing's a tank. That thing's a beast. We just wanted to weigh it. All right, let's get our tatula, just because we're weighing stuff. Now this one also took, it's probably kind of like the zillion. I don't have near as much line on it. But in the little shootout, now it was a brief shootout, and I have not sprayed bearings out. I don't think I've sprayed bearings out on any of these at any time or whatever, but you could probably buy, you know, a little higher end. I'm sure this thing comes with cheap bearings all the way. You could probably, if you wanted to invest in going with the higher end Daiwa bearings, it may even cast better. But since the fact it's got the shaft in it, 1972, but should not have a huge impact on, you know, half-ounce baits, flinging them out there, more so than maybe if you took, because this thing, all the bearings that this shaft rides on will have an effect on startup and how free spinning it lets it go, kind of deal. And where's the, let me get the zillion on. So compared to the zillion, which I think is the one I really like, 18 even and 19. So yeah, it's all over 1.5 grams heavier, and it's not the same. It's a smaller diameter, which therefore that honestly makes it, in my opinion, these a little bit bigger are better for distance, right? The bigger around they are. The lighter baits or true like BFS type stuff, you smaller, lighter, but lighter, bigger is better for distance, and it can be argued as actually a little touch heavier. If you get too light for the bigger ones for distance, they could harm, that could actually hinder more than it helps. And then as you can see, there's crazy difference in just even though this one has boost, let's check the boost. Maybe that is a little off too, but so there's that first. You can see I'm barely pulling it, and then so there to there is the boost part. So that's, you barely toss it. Like if you're doing a little pitching and stuff, that pops out instantly. When you cast hard, that comes out at the very beginning, just in that when you like throw it hard as you can, and then it typically will go back in fairly quick, and then it just rides like that throughout the rest of the cast. So anyway, awesome. All of these, as you guys can tell, they're all Daiwa, state-of-the-art, high-tech performance. Was that all of them we needed? yeah, I don't think we need to weigh the BB1. Somebody's looking at that and like, what does that spool weigh, Charlie? Okay, you guys brought it up. I know, I'm a mind reader. Somebody said it, thought it. We're just going to see if I can get it out. Oh my God. This is that little insane. If you guys don't know, haven't seen these BFS spools, look like how much material's been taken out of that turd. So this is exactly how to fish it. Unfortunately, this one doesn't come in a boost. So it's just, I'm out and whatever. So we'll talk about this in a second, but let's just see what that one weighs. Oh, with line, ready to fish, and a leader already on it, 9.3. So it is half the weight of any of these other spools, or and then some. This is lightweight. This dude, that's with the bearing, fully, as you saw, I barely got it out of there, so it's filled about as full as you get. That's 10-pound Probero's braid, by the way, and it actually comes out easy. That knot was kind of holding it from the leader knot. But anyway, this has come back out, so I'm gonna leave it out. So this spool, I don't know if you can still find them anymore. It'll fit in all of the older, losing my mind, TDZs, the Zillions, the Steezes, you know, that all these other spools will interchange. So I could put it now. It won't fit. It'll fit in here, but it's going to have such a huge gap you wouldn't want to try it. But so it goes in between any generation except for the newest Steez, and then all of your older, I think any generation of Zillions, since they've been making them, to this newest one, to the oldest one when they first came out and were called a Zillion, to a lot of other Daiwas that help handle this kind of spool. A lot of the with the T3s and stuff, I think that's the same spool. So anyway, I guess I'm going to end that. No, wait. We're just... Oh, my gosh. I got this whole mess. I haven't even talked about fishing rods. Did I? Did I? You know what? I'm going to save that for another day. Stay tuned. Probably beginning of next week, I'll start putting out videos on fishing the rods. But it's real simple. MegaBass Destroyer P5s. G Loomis NRX Plus for your bottom bouncing stuff, in my opinion. And then you can do it for the moving baits, but with the GLX, or sorry, not with the GLX, with the MBR. So jig and worm rod for your bottom bouncing, and then the MBR on the NRX Pluses for your moving baits, and then the GLX. Also, you could go either way with jig and worm rods, but honestly, the NRX Plus for your bottom bouncing little, where you need to detect the slightest little bite. The minute you start moving a bait, and even if you're just dragging a bait, if you're just kind of pulling it along and you're putting a little bit of, any sort of tension on the line and rod, the NRX Plus is probably still the best option, but you don't have to have that. In my opinion, the GLX, maybe even one more lower down the rung on the G Loomis stuff, or that's when the P5 Destroyers or some other brands come into play, even Dobbins and them. You can get by with. But then once you all right, moving bait, rattle traps, chatterbaits, all that kind of stuff, I prefer the MBR, and the GLX is my favorite right now. But then the P5s are excellent. And then even that's when a lot of your other signature series from Lew's, a lot of other Lew's, the Poison Adrena, a lot of those other rods are plenty more than enough. And you can even use a very cheaper. You don't need near as sensitive rods once you're moving that bait, and sensitivity isn't near as important. But I will break down the ones I have, and I guess be looking forward to it. And you guys be thinking about it. I will show you these three right here, because I'm going to probably put together a video the next time I go out fishing on which one of these three is the best all around. So Lew's Signature Series, that's 6'10" medium heavy. The GLX MBR, that is the 6'8" fast medium heavy. Let me see if I can show you the specs on this. Okay, so 6'10", medium heavy. That's considered their jerkbait rod. Line 25, whatever. See all that right there? There's all the stuff from the GLX, but then also the Poison Adrena, which is a medium plus, but it's 7 to 28 grams, quarter to 1 ounce, 8 to 20 pound line. So as you can tell, it's still, they're all pretty close. These all are roughly around that same power rating, have roughly the same sort of action going to them. So be looking forward to that when I put these kind of in that, you know, which of what I have, whether it be the G Loomis MBR lineups, just any of these signature series from Lose or the Poison Adrenas, but in specific these in that 6'8", 6'10", 6'11", versatile. Which ones are the most versatile, best all around? If you had to pick one, spoiler alert, they're all very good. But I'm gonna actually, I'll probably make a video talking about it when I talk about all these other rods. But I will probably wait till I make my final decision. I'm going to go out and I'll maybe take just those three and go out and fish a lot of different stuff and see how far I can cover that low end of the spectrum, the high end of the spectrum, the, you know, big hooks to the little hooks kind of deal, and see which one, if any, can take me further one way or the other kind of deal. But then be looking forward to me talking about the blade again, right? About the Super Destroyer again. And about the Tequila Baccarat again. Because although I don't have any of my MegaBass P5s in the running for the best all around, they're probably still, in specific things that I use them for, my favorite for like that little thing. But anyway, stay tuned. That'll be a whole nother video. I'm going to end this one. Will be talking about Ford trucks. So I'm on the market, and that's what I wanted to end with. You guys, I want you guys, go research for me. Find me a truck under $20,000 that has a supercharged Coyote motor in a Ford pickup. No, but seriously. They are out there. They're just more money than that. But if you guys don't know, Ford still makes the 5.0. It ain't the 302. It's not the same 5.0 that Vanilla Ice was jamming to, right? Rolling in his 5.0. Not that motor. But a 5.0 that's nicknamed, I don't know who called it. I don't know if you guys know the backstory to that. The Coyote, right? The 5.0 Coyote that came out around, was it 2010 or 11? And they're still making it. It's like on the third generation. The first gen was still good, but they've changed stuff. But I'm going to probably be looking for a truck like that, because if you guys know, I have the truck I'm getting rid of, Rugburn, has the 5.4 Triton motor, which that motor supercharged was a beast. And I actually owned one of those in a Ford Lightning, 99 Ford Lightning. So should I get something, put a supercharger on it? No. I just need to stick with that. But I think everything that I've been researching tells me to look for, stick with a 4x4 Ford with the Coyote motor. They're out there. You can actually, the Raptors are getting fairly cheap. Some of them, I think they could come with multiple motors, but the 6.2 was in some of the Raptors. I've heard different stories on the 6.2. The first gen of the 3.5 twin turbo, they call it EcoBoost, and it's just a twin turbo, little bitty motor. The first gen is not good, but I've heard that second and definitely the third, they got better. And they're fairly reliable, and they definitely put out some power. The problem is, anytime you're dealing big vehicle, small motor, pushing a lot through it, it's going to wear. Just imagine if you took the Coyote and you twin turboed it. Then now we're talking. Now we're playing with power. But you add a Whipple supercharger or a Roush supercharger, or whoever different makes a supercharger. I don't know if ProCharger, Jeremy and them are doing anything on those, but you guys can look. If you're in the market for a hot rod pickup, if you want a new improved Lightning that beats the electric piece of crap that Ford has out right now, and a lot of you guys probably already know this, but you can go, there's dealers doing it, but you could do it yourself. You basically go on there and you order a 2-door XL, 2 or 4-wheel drive, $5,000 more if you get 4-wheel drive. And then you just add that you can go, most of them, that are giving you the options at Town and Country. There's different dealers. You know, check with different dealers. They're all over, they'll ship all over the country. They offer you a supercharger package for, it's usually around 12,000 or so. So you end up with about anywhere from 49 to 54,000 for a supercharged 5.0 truck. Four-wheel drive is like the 52 to 54,000, since you add 5,000 for it, and then so you can launch in four-wheel drive kind of thing if you want to just get crazy with them. But anyway, I'm not spending that kind of money. So, but I am looking out for different options on vehicles. I still got this one listed for sale, and I'll keep you updated as we go. But you guys comment if you've ever owned, you know, anything with the turbo, with the supercharger, any kind of hot rod, or 4x4 with the good power or whatever. I've been seeing, I know I'm just doing research, but I'll be honest, I'm a Ford guy. I've owned Chevys over the years. They always go pop, snap, crackle, pop, and I destroy them. They put out some horsepower. I mean, I've owned from a 400 Pontiac in a Firebird I had to a 400 small block in a Blazer. I don't think I've had I haven't had a big block. No 454s or nothing like that. But I've had a few different Fords with, you know, have I had a big block Ford with 390 or a 427? Man, I've driven them. I don't know if I've actually ever owned my own. I had a Torino with the 351 Cleveland. Man, that thing, that was stock. Four cylinder. 351 Cleveland, 4-speed. In a Trino, man, that thing was fast. Hardly had any brakes. It was a little rough driving, but anyway. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Get out and go bass bonsai, but stay tuned. I'm going to be reconfiguring. Also, when I come back and talk about rods, I'll probably have these configured onto combos, and we'll talk about why and all that kind of stuff. And then as I get ready to do my best all-around rods, the best all-around reel hand is the Tatula for the money, because you can take it, put it on a lot of different stuff. It's got enough line capacity, you know, with as long as you're fishing with braid. It's got a lot, you know, it'll do anything you'll want to do with that. It's a little slightly lower, so it's 8.1. So I kind of like that, the 8.1 over the 8.5 to ones, in my opinion, because 8.5s, like, you can do it, and I use them for all the other stuff, chatterbaits, rattle traps and stuff, but I kind of like that 7.5 to 1 or 8.1 to 1 when you're, you know, rattle traps, chatterbaits, moving along kind of deal. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Get out of here. I'm gone. See you later.